in Walton counties into Holmes County and approaching Jackson County. A lot of lightning, and this cell here between Graceville and Chipley is the cell that continues to show some rotation, and it has prompted another small tornado warning for that potential of a tornado to form. A very good inflow notch still evident. There's Poplar Springs High School southward there, looking at that area of rotation. That, of course, goes towards Bonifay. There's the rotation. Again, it's not real strong overall, but it is certainly evident there if we look at the radar. So we'll keep watching this pocket of rotation as it moves to the east. Basically a big area of rotation in the atmosphere, but it's not real tight, and there are some strong straight line winds as well on the backside of this cell. We have not seen any debris from this as we've been watching it here on the Doppler radar. No signs here of a Doppler radar confirmed tornado. The actual rotation center is about right here, so right there, and if we go from there to the debris tracker, we're not seeing anything line up, and that is some good news. But again, another tornado warning has been issued for this cell. So we are watching it here as it moves on through Holmes County and into Jackson County. There's Graceville, heavy rainfall coming in. Esto in the middle of heavy rainfall with a lot of lightning. And there's been some hail in pockets mixed in, some small hail anyway, just south of Esto, just to the west of Graceville with that cell. So it's a very vigorous updraft. It's trying to tap into what rotation we have in the atmosphere. The overall setup isn't great for tornadoes, but a brief spin up can occur in a situation like this. And this has been a long-lived rotating storm. We started our first cut-in, I think, at 3:43, so about 2 hours ago. We're at 5:45 at this point. That rotation area has gotten stronger. It's weakened. It's gotten stronger. It's kind of pulsing. Not seeing any indications of a Doppler radar confirmed tornado with this cell, but there is some rotation evident just south and southwest of Graceville, and we want to make sure that you are covered if you're in this area. Go someplace safe. I'll zoom in here just a little bit with that rotation here just east of Highway 173. So these are outbound winds. These are inbound winds as we look at the Doppler radar. So there's certainly a pocket here of spinning air in the atmosphere, but it's not real tight. Usually if we see a tornado, we've got a really bright pink color against a green or a blue color. We're not seeing that. We've got some gate-to-gate shear right there that's a little more enhanced, but it's not real strong. However, this storm has that potential to spin up into another tornado. There's the inflow. So again, we're kind of pinpointing exactly where that rotation is in the atmosphere. There's Highway 77 off to the east. It is moving in that direction. A lot of lightning strikes here. So Highway 173, Highway 162 down to the south there showing up. This storm is producing some heavy rainfall on the south side, the west side, and the north side. So this area here just south of that circulation, heavy rainfall and some gusty straight line winds. That's northwest of Chipley, north of Bonifay. And then as we go up towards Graceville, really heavy rainfall there back towards Esto. So that whole stretch of Highway 79, very, very wet. That will slow you down. You got a lot of trees out there as well, and you got to think about how strong these winds are and the fact that the ground is saturated in spots. You may have some trees coming down in this area. That's really dangerous if you are driving in a very wooded area with gusty winds and falling trees. So try to avoid those areas if you can. Even if you just park and stay put somewhere until the worst of the winds pass and carry on along your route. Graceville, strong winds coming in. We don't have a real great look at the wind velocity because they're coming in from the west and the radar beam is like this. It's perpendicular. It's not parallel to the wind. So what you see here is probably actually a bit stronger in real life. Now the rotation we can pick up pretty well no matter where it is with the Doppler radar. So we can pinpoint that all the time. Sometimes the straight line winds though don't show up quite as well in a situation like this. I can actually toggle the radar and go northward here and look at the Fort Novacell radar, and the idea is we have very strong straight line winds coming out through this area with perhaps a little rotation. Again, that subtle rotation has prompted that tornado warning from the National Weather Service office in Tallahassee. I am not seeing any confirmation of a tornado. No debris showing up here, and there would certainly be debris if we had a tornado because you've got a lot of trees in this part of Holmes and Jackson counties, and we've seen in the past if you get a little tornado to form, you get some tree debris to go up into the sky pretty quickly, and the radar can pick that up, but it's not picking it up at this point. However, there's that chance for that rotation area to tighten, and that's why we have that heads up with that tornado warning just south of Graceville. You've got pretty good inflow and outflow if you're looking at the actual radar site here, towards the radar, away from the radar. So you've got the, well, using the Fort Nova cell here, in and out like this, but either radar is picking up that rotation pocket just south of Graceville. So a tornado warned storm here that is now moving into the western and northwestern part of Jackson County. This is, I'm going to take you back. This is the same cell that we've been watching for, again, a couple hours. I'll go back 2 hours here and animate this as it came on through parts of Covington County, into Geneva County, into Walton County, and then Holmes County, and now into Jackson County. So a 2-hour animation here of that same cell right along that boundary, which is dropping southward, and that boundary is separating air in the 80s from air in the 60s. So a big difference here. Of course, storms like this, they feed off of wind shear in the atmosphere, and they feed off of warm and humid air. So you've got the wind shear all across the area, but you've got the warm and humid air confined to areas south, and that's why we're watching these storms right on that boundary. And that's the cell that may at some point spin up into an actual tornado. The entire time we've been watching this, we have not seen any confirmation of a tornado if we look at the debris tracker. We've seen some tightening of that rotation, but not real tight that would indicate, yes, for sure we have a tornado. That said, that can still happen, and that's why we have, again, that tornado watch in effect here for the area, and that tornado warning in effect for parts of Jackson and Holmes counties. We're really kind of watching just south of Graceville, and it's this little pocket right here between Chipley and Graceville. There's Highway 77, so that will pass 77 pretty much in the central part here of Jackson County between Washington and Geneva counties here. So watching that very closely for, again, that potential for that to spin up. It's not a Doppler radar confirmed tornado. It is a tornado warning based on this broad rotation in the atmosphere. So there's Richter Crossroads. Northward, you see Graceville behind the banner, Poplar Springs High School right there. That rotation is south of Graceville. We'll cross 77 here, and it's not that far south of Graceville. Let me go with the little arrow here. So 6 miles south of Graceville, we have that pocket of rotation that is moving to the east. No signs yet of any debris showing up in this area. If we look at the debris tracker here, there's no indication of any holes showing up in this product that would indicate that we do have a Doppler radar confirmed tornado. We have good inflow still coming in to that cell. That little notch right here indicates the flow in from the south, all that warm, humid air fueling all that rain and all the lightning strikes to the north. And then from that area southward, we've got very strong winds coming in from the northwest. That's the outflow from the storm. That's the boundary settling southward, and those straight line winds may take down some trees. So even though it is a tornado warned storm, that's really not the primary threat. The primary threat, honestly, is damaging straight line winds. And it's this boundary right through here. So it's come on through Bonifay. It's northwest of Chipley. We've had those northwest winds in Bonifay. They're about to move into Chipley here. And the top part of that little spin is that little pocket right there, right along 77. Again, not strong enough to indicate an actual tornado, but it is certainly strong enough to indicate there's that potential for it to spin up and organize. Not happening yet, but again, broader view, straight line winds, damaging winds, a possibility from that cell there as it is passing south of Graceville, north of Graceville, into Geneva County and into Houston County too. We have just a lot of rain. Heavy rainfall, Cottonwood at this point, Rehoboth, heavy rainfall, Hartford, southward to Graceville. You are in the middle of that heavy rainfall, and there's still likely some hail mixed in with that cell. So if we look at the hail potential map here, right around Graceville and points southward, not seeing any blue, so that's good. Probably nickel-sized hail, I would say, based on what we're looking at with that view, but that may pulse up and produce some bigger hail. Hail's not the main threat that we're looking at today. I'd say heavy rainfall, the number one threat. Gusty winds, damaging straight line winds, and that chance for perhaps a brief tornado to spin up. Again, watching this in real time, we're not seeing any Doppler radar confirmation of a tornado. You can make out the spin in the atmosphere, and that general spin has been prompting tornado warnings at times for the past couple hours, but not seeing any confirmation of a tornado from this cell. However, that spin will carry towards Cottondale, at least areas north of Cottondale and south of Campbellton in the next 20 minutes, and eventually towards Mariana. This will continue along that boundary and just kind of drop southward. So it's moving basically a little south of due east. And if we extrapolate that motion, that would take it somewhere south of Cottondale and then north of Cottondale and north of Mariana. We do have a tower out there, a tower cam around Boniface. So that's our transmitter site in Holmes County. We can switch over to that and just kind of Ryan's here kind of panning around to see we're in the middle of the rain here that has actually passed. And if you right click and then, yep, there you go. Now you can kind of just take that and just scan it around the sky. And we'll look here and you see just a lot of rain. I'm not sure if we're too far away to make out what was that lowering of that cloud base from that cell. Looks like just a uniform rain all across that part of Holmes County. Again, that's our tower cam located near Boniface. So let's go back to, if you see anything, Ryan, let me know. Just holler at me. Max 2 here. So you can kind of see that center of the spin right here. Again, you've got some outbound wind showing up, some inbound in green. Not real strong, but there's enough there to indicate that, yeah, we have rotation, and we've got that tornado potential in this area here of Jackson County, just northwest of Richter Crossroads, and it's basically crossing 77 now, just north of the border with Washington County. So we're in Jackson County here. It will pass just north of Richter Crossroads, approaching 273, crossing 77 now, approaching 273 here in the next several minutes. Broad rotation, no confirmation of a tornado. The inflow notch here showing up a little bit farther north than that little pocket of rotation that we saw on Doppler radar. Real quick check of the debris tracker. No signs here of any kind of debris showing up in the atmosphere. So it looks like maybe it's shifted now with that new scan. So that's why we saw that inflow notch right here, because it aligns with where that rotation pocket has moved to with that scan. So, you know, broad rotation, nothing real tight. There is a tornado warning ongoing, does clip parts of Washington County, but mainly here for Jackson County. But beyond that rotation threat, we're looking at more of a damaging straight line wind potential here. Areas now northwest of Chipley as that downdraft area moves in. So from that little pocket of rotation southward here towards Chipley, a very probably distinct shelf cloud moving in, and then all of a sudden heavy rainfall, blinding rain, and some gusty winds, probably over 40, 50 miles per hour with that storm as it moves in. Areas out ahead of that little notch. So there's the little notch. Areas out ahead of there in Jackson County. It's warm. Temperatures are into the 80s. It is humid. Dew points into the 70s. We've got that volatile atmosphere in place, and this storm is moving right along that boundary, the boundary that separates temps in the 80s from temperatures in the 70s and 60s farther north. So this cell, at least for the next hour or two, maybe 2 hours, hour and a half, has some potential to move on through Jackson County into Seminole County and maybe produce a tornado. Again, a tornado warning in effect for this cell, but no Doppler radar confirmation of a tornado with this storm here in Jackson County. So we're watching it. We've got a newscast coming up here at 6. We will continue to monitor this cell and other storms across the area. Heads up for flash flooding. Watch out for the heavy lightning, the pockets of hail and gusty winds, and we'll keep our eyes on what is happening here and watch for that rotation area to tighten. That would indicate we have a tornado. So more coming your way in just a few minutes right here on News 4.
This has been a forewarned weather alert.